Muslims and the Rastafari, which is an old document that was drafted up here. I had to go and do a little bit of search within the archives to find it, because after finding the particular the desecration of the Ethiopian, the Imperial Ethiopian Line of Judah flag, I said to myself, let me give these facts, because these are the facts that people need. First of all, we're going to go through a little did you know, just a little did you know right now. Did you know that the Prophet Muhammad, who was from the true seed of the Prophet Abraham, in other words, he was an Ishmaelite, descendant of Ishmael, by the way of Abraham's son Ishmael, that he said that it's the prophet of Islam, that actually said that these so-called Muslims or Mohammedans, I'm speaking of a lot of these so-called modern day so-called Muslims, except for his true followers, even the Prophet Muhammad made a distinction in his own group of people, so-called Muslims, that there'll be many who would follow and claim to be Muslims, but the Prophet Muhammad said that except for the true followers, that many of the so-called Muslims or Mohammedans would end up in hell. Now this is based on one of the hadith here, and it was reported by Abdullah ibn Umar, and I'm quoting from our 1991 pamphlet, The Rift Between Muslim and Rastafari. Abdullah B. Umar, he reported Allah's apostle, PBUH, peace be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as saying that there would exactly befall my ummah all those evils which had befallen the people of Israel, so much so that if there was one against them who openly committed fornication with his mother, there would be among my ummah one who would do that. And if the people of Israel were fragmented into 72 sects, my ummah would be fragmented into 72 sects. All of them would be in hell fire, Gehenna, what we call Gehenna, or they say Gehenna, except one sect, except one particular group. He's saying that his faith or his nation, his ummah, would be divided into 73 different sects in the last days, and that all of them would go to hell, to Gehenna, the garbage heap outside of Jerusalem, except for one sect. They, the companions, said, Allah's apostle, which is that? Whereupon he, Muhammad, was said to have said, it is the one to which I and my companions belong. Now it's interesting to note that all who fought against Ethiopia, all those so-called Mohammedan and Muslims and Muslims of the past who fought against Ethiopia, both inside of her borders and outside, were unsuccessful due to the true covenant, holy covenant Ethiopians' mighty faith in their God and their King of Kings. Now in the Qur'an of the Muslims, the 114 books of Muhammad or Ahmed, Surah 5, verse 82, it reads, you, Muhammad, will find the strongest of your enemies in the people, the so-called Jews of Muhammad's time, speaking of those who claim to be Jews in his time, hateful of those who have faith, to be the Judahites and those who worship idols, speaking of the so-called Jews and Christians. And you will find those who say, we are followers of the Messiah, Jesus, Nazareth, nearer to them, nearer to the Muslims, with affection for those who are faithful or Muslims. And then it says, this is because there are Christians, or Qusaysiyan, the word used in the Arabiya Fusa is Qusaysiyan, which is almost an exact Arabic, you could say, transliteration of the Ethiopic word Qais or Qaisawiyan, Qais from the root of priest, because they are Qusaysiyan or Ethiopian Christians and monks, recluses among them, and they don't have too much pride. Now, when you do a word-by-word breakdown of the Qur'an, chapter 5 or Surah 5, verse 82, you will find that it uses the word Qusaysiyan, 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 and the Qusaysiyan are the Ethiopian Christians, or the name for the Qaisawiyan, a nation of the priests, a nation of the priesthood. So this particular is a small pamphlet that we wrote in 1991. Yet some of the main facts, we're shocked to find that many ones still are not even, as we would say, up on those facts of that time. Some of these basic facts